All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm meteorologist David Glenn. We're here live on this Saturday afternoon. If you're watching this video again, I'm here live just after 2:30 p.m. on Saturday, March 15th. Okay, make sure we get the time and date correct there. Just so everybody knows, if you're watching this on a replay, you'll know when this was aired because there's so much active weather coming our way. I want to make sure you're having the updated version. And we'll go live, of course, when more of those storms start to arrive, as we have done this morning. And we'll do again in several hours, especially into the evening hours as things start to progress. But I want to get you caught up on what's happening now that morning round's moved out of the way. We have several counties locally under a tornado watch, and I have a feeling with time, more counties will be added as we go deeper into the evening hours, into the overnight. So we'll allow a few more folks to jump on board. Hope you're doing okay and staying safe this afternoon, and take some time to make those preparations, okay? You know what I did this morning? Once it stopped raining a bit, and I want to thank meteorologist Olivia Glass for handling things this morning. She did a great job handling all the severe weather coverage this morning. And thankfully, it wasn't too bad. Noisy, little hail, but nothing tornadic, thankfully. And that was kind of on the tail end of things dying down. But I want to thank her for coming in this morning. And she'll be back early tomorrow morning as well. But once those moved out of the way, I was able to make sure out on my front porch that any loose items were picked up or stored away. Like I got a patio table and chairs. Do the same thing around your house. Make sure nothing's a projectile, because we're going to have a potential that even if you don't have a tornado, wind gusts could exceed 75 miles an hour. And as I mentioned in previous updates, that's about the same as a Cat 1 hurricane. It's pretty strong. And you know what that can do. And so, again, this is going to be a big wind maker. There's still all modes of severe weather possible, not just damaging wind gusts, also the chance for tornadoes. And now that we've had about an inch and a half of rain, now there's big concern again for flash flooding. The reason why flood watches have been out since yesterday. And overall, the original thing was about 2 to 3 inches, which will still be, in that range, but there'll be some that may get a little bit more. And with the ground already saturated, it brings up another factor that with stronger wind gusts, maybe trees have more of a loose footing, make it all easier, leading to more power outages. Let's see, a lot of folks joining us right now. A lot of folks noting that the sun is coming out. And yes, I'll discuss that as well, because I know we've had that first round of rain, and yeah, that stabilized the atmosphere a little bit, but there's heating going on, and there's a lot of upper level energy dynamics up above us and coming in from the south and west. So there's still a lot of that. It does help having a little bit stability with the rain early on, but I think it's going to recover enough, to maintain that severe. I mean, if it did make it all stable and nothing happened, I'd be the first person to go dance in the street. If we said, if somehow, some way, absolutely nothing happens, that would be a great day in my book. But unfortunately, there's a lot of ingredients out there, and my concern is still there. And that's why we're doing these videos. We've done all week long. I've had this day circled since late last week, about 8-9 days ago, because of what we could see coming up. So let's go and take a look at where the tornado watches are in effect, and talk about that and timing, because this is going to be a long period of time. This is not just one of those tornado watches out for just 4 or 5 hours. These are pretty lengthy ones. So you can see right now, DeKalb, Jackson, Franklin, Grundy, Van Buren, Cumberland are all under a tornado watch at this time. I put on my Facebook page a map that you can print out, take a look at, that allows you to see all the county names. So you're familiar with that, familiar with the shapes. So you know that when we show these maps that are highlighted, you'll know exactly what county you're in. Now, a lot of folks have moved into town from other parts of the country, maybe new to the area. They know where Hamilton County is or Bradley, where you live, but may not know all the other counties. That's what that map is helpful for. Let's talk about the timing here. Jackson, DeKalb County, this is out till 8 o'clock. 9 Eastern, 8 Central. And I believe this separate box here for Cumberland, Van Buren, and Grundy is out till 10 o'clock. So those are 2 separate boxes, and you'll see it on the radar coming up. So again, that's where the tornado watches are. And yes, with time, it will more than likely get extended farther east as time goes on. So again, watches mean conditions will become more favorable, that storms could form within that time frame. And of course, now you still have a little bit of time left to make those preparations. Make sure you have multiple ways of receiving alerts and staying alert. And that's what we're going to be doing for you as well. This is just sort of a briefing right now. We'll start our main live coverage later on as storms start to enter the viewing area. I want to also advise you to, if you're watching on a mobile device, keep it charged. Keep any of your mobile device chargers charged as well. So you got backup power, so you can still watch our streams. All right. Also, flood watch out in effect. We know that, and it's because of very heavy rain, anticipation of more coming in. That's in effect till 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So as far as rain right now, the exiting rain from the morning round is moving away off to the north and east. So still areas like Roane County, over near Harriman, and then you got areas like Crossville, up to the Kentucky border. Last line of showers. These are not severe. That's not why you're under a watch. Okay. What we're watching is way back here. And here you go. And you can see what's happening back here. These are marching pretty quickly. All right. This is in a line. So we got to watch that as they develop. There are several severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings along that line. They're moving rapidly northeast, more slowly east. Okay. So it'll cross I-65. And I mentioned earlier on today that sort of 5 p.m. to 3 a.m. window, west to east locally. Still holding on to that because it may be more towards 6 p.m., but it's not going to be continuous 9 hours. But what it means is they'll start reaching our western counties by that time frame, 5 to 6 Eastern, and then start to march across the viewing area. So it's going to be very active this evening. Going farther down to the south and west, again, this gets out of the radar range just from the Huntsville radar, but you can see Meridian, Columbus, these are more supercells down here away from the main line. So we got to watch this line here and also these individual cells where it's really going to explode here over areas like Birmingham, down to Meridian, Tuscaloosa, where they're under that high risk for this afternoon. This outlines where those two watch boxes are. You can see it faintly right there, the end of it. And then the other one, it goes all the way to the Georgia border. So again, it's anticipation of that round coming in from the west. This shows up a little bit better. This shows all the radar, so it does show the activity down here. The other one's more the live radar. This is a composite. But you can see right here, when you see these individual warnings, these are more supercelled. They're not in a line. So those can tend to be have more explosive development, more rapidly develop, and it's going to be very busy here from Baton Rouge to Hattiesburg, Meridian, up to Starkville. That's where I went to graduate school there, Mississippi State. And then it's more aligned here, where they're kind of forming together, but still several severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings on that west of Huntsville, entering the northwestern part of Alabama, Tishomingo area, northeastern part of Mississippi. So again, this was the morning round. Here, let me get my cursor. Here comes the afternoon round, or excuse me, into the evening round. And there's our big weather maker. Two things. The one that caused all the storms last night was this low, rapidly moving north and east, all the wind across the plain states. Now we got this low right here. That's going to be lifting northeast, bringing with it all that severe weather. So there's plenty of ventilation aloft, plenty of what we call divergence aloft. So it's going to allow for an explosive development of some of those supercells. And that's what's going to move over us rather rapidly, especially this evening through the early stages of the overnight, setting the stage for that potential for both damaging wind gusts with storms if they're within a line, but also within that line and in advance of the line, you got to watch out for individual supercells. And that just shows it again, just another radar vantage point view. Memphis sort of on the back edge there, but still you got this back line right here. So all of this has got to slowly make its way and move eastward a bit. All right, let's go over the risk factors. This did increase a bit. It pulled more of our viewing area into that level 4. On a scale of 1 to 5, that's that moderate risk. High risk includes areas, I mean, look at that, just south of us. Gadsden, Birmingham, that moved it up quite a bit. So this area is going to be the highest risk factor for tornadoes, but don't discount that either in the 3 and the 4. And that's an elevated risk. These are higher than normal risk that we typically see here. And so these are all heightened area-wide. So it's best not to look at that and go, well, I'm in Monroe County. It's not as bad. Now, all areas locally got to keep an eye on this, okay? And a large part of the reason why the Storm Prediction Center put more of our area in that level 4 is because, let me advance 2 graphics up here, and I'll come back to tornado risk. It's because of this. The damaging wind threat, see it kind of molds exactly where that level 4 moved in. It's because of the exponential rise in the risk of damaging wind gust. So for most of us, the highest risk factor locally is for that damaging wind gust, gusts that could exceed 60 miles an hour. But because this area is hatched, I mentioned those black lines are never good, all right? And it's because there's a greater than 10% chance or equal to that you could have wind gusts of 75 miles an hour within 25 miles of a point. So overall, 45% chance, that's a large chunk of our viewing area. And those are incredible wind speeds. That could cause structural damage, trees down, power outages, and that can cause damage that oftentimes can mimic a tornado. So don't discount that. The straight line winds are going to be really rough with this. And then on a lower percentage, but it's still significant because 10 to 15% is huge for us. Typically, it's never that big. Usually we're in that up here, that 2-5%. Now we're in that 10 to 15%, and that's just that's big. And then along with that, hatched area means that within this range, there's a slightly heightened chance that you could have a EF2 tornado higher within 25 miles of a point. So that's pretty significant. So there's a heightened, significant, severe threat there with the damaging wind gust and also for tornado threat. I showed you the broad view of that 1 through 5, and then here's the local view. And as I said, it's best not to, breathe too much of a sigh of relief if you're a 3 over 4. Basically, we're all in the same boat with this. Also, large hail could be an issue. I mean, you got chance of 1-inch diameter hail. That's about the size of a quarter, and then cause some damage. When you get into the ping pong ball size hail into this area, Jackson, DeKalb, even parts of Franklin County possible. And some of that can migrate eastward. So, these forecast boundaries are set up, but, the weather oftentimes can overtake those boundaries. So just be aware with that being that close by, storms can be pretty strong up to our doorstep. So again, there's the, in a nutshell, the summary there for late afternoon and tonight. Again, tornadoes, high winds, that's climbing the scale. Also, so is large hail climbing that. Flooding also of a concern because we've already had quite a bit of rain, excessive runoff, and flash flooding with more repeated rounds of rain coming in. There's going to be a lot of that coming in tonight, or those rounds. It's going to be a very slow mover. Fast-moving individual cells, slow-moving line. All right, here's the high-res model. This updates every hour, and it's done pretty good, I think. I think really that model really showed the morning round quite well last night. If you were watching our live cast that I did at, was it 10 last night? Yeah, 10 o'clock Friday night. I think it really showed a lot better some of the other models did. Even better than NAM. The NAM was a very quiet model, North American model, but I think high-res did well. So I have some faith in this model here. Although models are they're just scenarios, okay? And oftentimes they may not mimic exactly what's going on, but they can give you a general idea of the speed. And sometimes these things can outpace the models. But anyway, I've been mentioning that time frame from say 5 p.m. to 3 a.m. That, long kind of 10-hour stretch there from west to east for all this to move in and move out. And you can see this shows possibly around 5 o'clock, which is a couple of hours from now. These individual cells, as could be in advance of a line. You got to watch those. That was, if you go back to some of our videos, I mentioned 3 stages to watch. We had the morning round, that was stage 1. Stage 2 was going to be if we get into the supercells in advance of the main line. And that's what we need to be mindful of now through the time that line arrives. So that's what we're looking at here. So 5 p.m. Eastern time. Now let's move along here. I've got a couple of pause points on here. All right, by 6, 7 o'clock. So from 5 to 7, it starts moving in for area all the way to areas right along 75 and west, potentially. But again, see these individual cells. There could be a line like forming to the west. The individual cells here can be pretty nasty. All right, those are very concerning into the early evening. So 7 to 9:45, you've got, potentially some wicked lines there. The back edge of the stronger line is still back here, still quite a bit of energy to work with. And not to mention very heavy rain still coming down. And then closer to midnight, you start seeing signs of the back edge of the plateau, but more of our viewing area is still covered by that. So this has gone now through a 6-7 hour time frame where it's been slowly moving west to east. And it does project around 2 a.m. being along 75 and east being the main area still impacted by the line. And then once you get toward 3 a.m., quickly exiting to the east after that. There's still going to be some showers back here, but a lot of that's going to kind of rotate north and east and not be too severe. Still breezy through tomorrow morning. So that's the high-res model, which again has done pretty good. So I'll show this one more time. It shows a 5 p.m., say 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern, possibly on the plateau, whether it's these individual cells or the start of that line. And all those areas are already under a tornado watch, which means if that line moves that direction, you might see an expansion of the tornado watch a little bit sooner. So it could be becoming pretty active, 5 to 7 Eastern, 7 to 9 Eastern, getting even more active locally, more local area being covered by that. All modes severe weather being possible by then. Damaging wind gust, tornadoes, heavy rain. And then around midnight or so, the back edge showing up near the plateau. And then mainly after 2 a.m. areas east of I-75, and then exiting out to the east 3 to 4 a.m. So over the next 12 hours, pretty active around here. I'll be with you every step of the way here for this. So through the long haul. So that's the way that model looks. I'll show you our future track in-house model. It's called the graph model. Again, I don't think the graph model handled the morning round that well. And that's why last night I showed the high res, because it's like, heads up, the high res, which comes out every hour, shows that morning round. I like it better than the graph right now. But the graph models notice the timing's a little bit held back a bit. So at 6 p.m., the high res is more about right here. So this shows the line a little bit slower. It is moving at a pretty good pace. I think the high res may have a better handle on that. We'll just have to wait and kind of watch that model trend. This, though, even though it's a little behind to start with, it speeds up the line faster. It shows a more faster pace with that. So it really picks up 6 to 9 p.m. And then by midnight, it is more area on the backside. The high res had it back here. So the high res may be onto something with it kind of slowing a bit. The slower means, of course, longer duration severe, but also longer duration of heavy rainfall. And then again, 2 to 3 being about an hour faster exiting to the east. So that's something we'll have to watch real carefully. Watch these trends. That's what I'm going to be tracking throughout the night. It becomes now, once these start striking, you won't be literally looking at the future tracks anymore. It becomes more of a forecast. It's called nowcasting. Where's the storm now? Where's it moving? And we'll be going through a lot of that tonight with individual storms. Here are the current wind gusts locally right now. They were down a bit after the initial round of rain rolled on by, but they're starting to pick up. 20 to 30. It'll pick up a bit more as we go through the remainder of the afternoon. And I'll show you our future track gust trend here. Let me back it up just a little bit. All right. So as those lines approach, just around 6 p.m., 5:36, we start peaking higher, 20 to 40. And then notice by 10 p.m., you have fluctuating gusts between 30 and 40, some as high as 50. Again, it doesn't mean it, these are just, speculative gusts based on a model, based on where they think the individual lines will be. But these are gusts outside any storms. Within the storms, outside you can have a gust up to 40, but within in the storm, you could have gusts up to 60 or even 75, as noted on the outlooks there. And that's why we're in that heightened level 4, because there's a higher potential for gusts that could exceed 60 to 75. And then notice, once even after the storms are gone, tomorrow will still be kind of breezy, but not as windy, still 20 to 30, and a cooler day, a few showers, but not nearly as bad. Rainfall again. Okay, keep in mind, this is additional rainfall. Okay, so the models from yesterday had us in a 2 to 3 for the period. Okay, so this is an addition to what we've already had. So Level Fields had 1.3. So if you had 2 inches of that, it's in the 2 to 3 range. So I think a lot of areas are going to be in that range. There'll be a few spots may get 3 to 4. So please be aware that if you live in a flood-prone area, be aware that flooding can occur. I'll put the threat level back up here so you can see that one more time. Let me see some of the questions here. Let's see. I thank everybody for watching. So many people with great questions. All are so great. I noted yesterday I had a video. Y'all may have seen it. And if you've watched it, the video from yesterday afternoon, I thought it went really well, but it was a live broadcast. And as I said, these live broadcasts, there's no script. Okay. My maps are my script. Same thing when I'm on the air on TV. You may not realize that, but on a newscast, I don't have a script. It's just my maps. And so I happened to open the broadcast by saying, hey, today is March 19th, which was yesterday. And I was like, today's not March 19th. It's March 14th yesterday. And all of y'all caught that. And then everyone who's watched the video since then has caught that. So live TV. Anyway, today is March 15th. I should also note, I remind myself it's the Ides of March. So it's never been a good day in history, March 15th. And here we are with bad weather. It's really living up to its name. All right. Hey, Tommy Morrison, thanks for watching. Hey, Summer. Hey, Crystal. Hey, Loxley. So Loxley has a question about an apartment building. So she has an option to be either on a first floor house with interior rooms or third floor apartment building, which is safer. I'll be glad to answer that question. I would say the first floor of the house with interior rooms is safer than the apartment building. Lowest level. If you have an option to be in a house that has a lower level, if you have a basement, great. But if not, get the lowest level and it's got more interior hallways, closets, or bathrooms there away from the exterior. That's a better option for you. Okay. I'm glad you asked that question. Good question. Hello, Bria, watching from Trenton. Hello, Julie Bradley Brown. Hello, Darlene, Alexis. Here's Shelby passing along information about a shelter in Chatsworth, a church in Chatsworth that will offer a shelter, as well as one in Tunnel Hill. All right, Shelby, thanks for passing along. And if you have a question about a shelter, be sure to contact your county EMA that provides you with information on shelters close to your community, because there are so many through so many different counties. So please, now's the time to make those preps. And since we're talking about what is safe, what is not safe, I can't emphasize this enough. Mobile homes are not safe because even with this heightened awareness of straight line winds, even though the highest risk factor is straight line and then tornadoes, straight line winds can destroy mobile homes. So you don't even have to have a tornado to cause damage. And so we want you out of there. We want you at a sturdier structure now. Now is the time to make that choice. Okay. We were talking about apartment buildings. Top floors are not good. I talked to my son who lives in Atlanta. I have one who lives here, one who lives in Atlanta. And I told him he's in his apartment complex. Do you know where to go? He said, yes. I said, good. But as you mentioned, in a well-built, sturdy home, interior room, that's a closet, hallway, bathroom that gives you more walls protecting you from the exterior. Get away from windows, protect yourself from shattered glass. But protecting yourself from the wind is very important. If you're in the hallway, best to crouch down, laying low, so you're not exposed to the wind. Cover your head with a pillow, cushion. If you have a bicycle helmet, even better. You have a football helmet, even better. All right, protect yourself. Make sure your family knows these guidelines and have multiple ways of receiving alerts. I mentioned mobile devices are great. Sometimes, though, during storms, cell towers can be disrupted, okay? And cell service can be disrupted in spots, so the radio signals can carry farther. So no alert radio is another great option to have. I highly recommend it. It's what I got in my house, along with mobile apps, okay? And the Storm Track 9 app is also available. Just search WTVC WX, which is an abbreviation for weather. So WTVC WX in your app store. That'll get you to the Storm Track 9 weather app. Be sure your location services are turned on so that you get those alerts. Great questions, folks. I appreciate y'all answering that. It's good to get these questions answered and asked before any storms happen, because by that time I'm more tracking the storms there. I may not be able to answer as many questions. I'll be trying to answer them as I go. So let's go over one more time again where tornado watch is in effect. And keep in mind that even though your county may not be shaded at the moment, with time in this evening, as you saw on the future track, and I'll go over it one more time, this briefing, these watches could get extended. So right now, Jackson to Cab, that's out till 9 Eastern. And then to overlap that there over portions of Cumberland, Grundy, Van Buren, out till 10 Eastern. So that's a long period of time. And again, that'll be more than likely extended with time. So here's our live radar view. You can see storms are marching pretty quickly here, right along I-65 right here. Tremendous amount of lightning with that. Several severe thunderstorm warnings along that. A couple of tornado warnings as well, too. I'm going to take the lightning off so you can see the cells a bit better. Sometimes the lightning makes a lot of visual noise there. But yeah, that's a severe thunderstorm warning and tornado warning within that. Now I'll show you one of our tools we use. See, I'll point out something. Even though this is outside the viewing area, now that bows like that. So you got some strong gusts there. It could be rotating. So we'll take a look at it from a wind point of view. And yeah. I think they got a tornado warning on that. There it is. That's where the tornado would be, right between Hamilton and Florence. So we're looking at northwestern Alabama already. Right there north of Phil Campbell, to Cherokee, to Russellville. That is right where a tornado is, right there. You can see how fast it's moving. So I'll be heading towards Florence. It's still well west of us, but gives you an idea of what's downstream just a little bit. So the high rates future track. Once again, showed this. That early round getting close to us in about 2 hours, just west of the plateau. We'll have to watch if it speeds up. I've got to watch any of those cells in advance of it. Supercells really concern me. You can see why back to the west. And then from 5 to 7, well, really 5 to 7, it starts covering many more areas from I-24 and west. And it covers more areas 7 to 9. So it progressively gets even more as we go through the night. And this eventually around midnight, and then 2 to 3 a.m. Actually taking more toward 4 a.m. for it to exit. All right, folks, that's a summary for now. I appreciate everybody for watching. I'll show you one more time the threat level there. All modes of severe weather are possible. We're here for you every step of the way, as we always are. I appreciate you watching these updates, and we'll have more updates going live as these storms happen and as long as they occur. We're on till they're gone, okay? So we'll keep you updated. So be sure to do, if my Facebook page has been shared to you, be sure to like it. If my YouTube page has been shared to you, subscribe to that. And same thing with the News Channel 9 pages as well. We're there on all my social channels on X, Facebook, and YouTube, and the same thing for News Channel 9. All right. So, and of course, we'll be on air too. So if you don't have a mobile device, you're watching on air, we'll be doing that as well. All right, folks. Thanks for watching this update, and I'll have future updates coming up in the next few hours as conditions start changing rapidly coming in from the west. Everybody, let's stay safe together. I'll see you back a little bit later.